Johnson replaces Mo Williams at the HBCU school. Williams left Jackson State to become an assistant at Kentucky in the SEC. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, host of The Voice of Reason, weeknights at 7 p.m. here on KBLA Talk 1580, with a personal invitation for you to join me and Insight.me as we present The Healing Box, live at Inglewood's world-famous Miracle Theater, Saturday evening, May 23rd at 7 p.m. Look, I understand your attachment style has been running your life like a rogue algorithm, and nobody has had the courage to press pause. Until now, Dr. Bakoya McCall and yours truly are curating a night where clinicians, spiritualists, and an all-star panel of Black woman healers like Dr. Shalonda Sunshine Crawford, Dr. Jashana Johnson, and spiritualist Precious McGill will join some amazing spoken word artists and the legendary comedian Louis Dix to diagnose, disrupt, and heal your relational wreckage in real time. Listen, bring your trauma. As a matter of fact, bring your baby mama. No, bring your testimony. And if you're still texting your ex at 2 a.m., baby, you're not just invited, you're the target demo. Tickets are moving fast, so grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before your dating history gets flagged as a pre-existing condition. That's themiracleinglewood.com. We'll see you there Saturday, May 23rd at 7 p.m.
First things first.
First things first, it's the DU General, Money B. I'ma put you up on the schedule, 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not to unsettle you. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DiPrima go way back. Tag Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in to First Things First with the Queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique DiPrima. Go sis.
First things first.
KBLA Talk 1580. Good morning. Happy Friday. Good morning. God bless. I'm Dominique DiPrima. The show is called First Things First, and my first thing every day is prayer, giving thanks, giving praise, asking for blessings from God, asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders. And let's go. Man, do we have a lot to talk about. It's a Freedman Friday. That's what we call every Friday around here because we focus in our second hour on reparations. Always today we'll be hearing from Dr. Ron Daniels and getting even a deeper dive on what took place in Ghana, something with generational implications. The UN resolution, it started in Ghana, happened at the UN, resolution on slavery and reparations. And we will hear from one of the premier experts here in the nation, Dr. Ron Daniels. Of course, hour 3, we normally do a deep dive with a hot topic or a person of interest. And today, Dr. Gail Wyatt will be with us. She's going to help us unpack all of these, well, I call it the Predator's Reckoning, from Eric Swalwell to maybe Katy Perry. It seems like folks are just dropping right now, figure out how to process that. From a psychological, sociological standpoint. And of course, you're always invited in 800-920-1580, 1580 800-920-1580. That's the number no matter where you are. We love to hear from you. Normally today we would be talking with Ed Sanders. He does our every other Friday. But we have some breaking news, and I'm so happy that Attorney Peter Carr has agreed to be here with us to help us process this insane breaking news. He's a renowned civil rights lawyer in LA. He is the founder of PLC Law Group, APC. And since he was admitted to the California bar back in 2008, he's been dedicated to defending the rights of individuals throughout Greater LA, Riverside, San Diego, and Santa Monica, specializing in civil rights, personal injury, and criminal defense, with a particular focus on police misconduct and cases involving police brutality and excessive force. Attorney Peter Carr, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I was, cut right to the chase here. I was very, very dismayed and disappointed to learn that yesterday a judge, and this is my summary, so correct me if I'm wrong, a judge ruled in favor of our conservative district attorney here in Los Angeles County, Nathan Hochman, who had sought to overturn, dismiss, I guess, the case against two cops who killed Christopher Deandre Mitchell, two Torrance police officers. Explain what happened, if you would.
Yes, so originally, Jackie Lacey, who was the district attorney, declined to take the case. Christopher Deandre Mitchell was killed by Anthony Chavez and Matthew Concannon on December 9th, 2018. Jackie Lacey was the then district attorney. She reviewed the case, and her office declined to bring criminal charges. When George Gascon was elected, he indicated that he was going to look into several cases where individuals were murdered by the police and they were unarmed. Christopher Deandre Mitchell was one of the cases that he took that he looked at, and they filed criminal charges. He assigned a special prosecutor, Lawrence Middleton, to review those facts, and he did a very thorough analysis. He presented the facts to a grand jury, and they indicted them on voluntary manslaughter, and that was in 2023. When Nathan Hochman was, I should say before that, there were a number of procedural challenges by the defendants to dismiss the lawsuit and dismiss the criminal charges, and the court declined to dismiss them. They said, well, there was not, the evidence didn't support voluntary manslaughter. The court disagreed and said that that it did. They filed an appeal. The court of appeal agreed with the trial court, and so then they filed another appeal to go to the California State Supreme Court. And when Nathan Hochman was
Sorry about that.
No problem. So when Nathan Hochman was elected, he ran on the premise that he was going to dismiss some of these charges, or dismiss charges and reduce sentences for individuals or officers who had engaged in misconduct, and that's exactly what he's done in many other cases. So in this case in particular, he said he was going to move to dismiss the charges, and they filed a motion to dismiss in November of last year, and the court said, well, there's a pending appeal, so I don't have jurisdiction, and so they dismissed the appeal, and I withdrew the appeal, and then he ruled on it, or he began to rule on it. And in January, they sent a detailed memo. It was about 30-something pages, and it indicated the reasons why they wanted to dismiss the lawsuit. I mean, the criminal charges. And the primary issue in that 30-page analysis was the fact that Middleton had indicated that there were tactics that were used deployed by these officers that led to them killing Christopher Deandre Mitchell, and that the court had said that those would not be admissible. So they originally argued that, well, hey, look, we're not going to be able to bring in this information that Middleton used to get the indictment. And so the judge said that's inaccurate. We're not, I'm not saying that that information is not going to be admissible. I questioned some of the admissibility of it, or some of the relevance to it, but some of it is coming in. And he gave the prosecution an alternative. They said, well, you could either dismiss the motion to dismiss, withdraw the motion to dismiss, seek a motion in limine, which is a pretrial ruling, pretrial ruling that on the evidence that would be admitted, and then make a determination, or you could submit another memo correcting the inaccuracies in your statement. And obviously they chose to continue on with the motion to dismiss and just refile or correct those statements, in which they did. They just deleted them. So their primary justification, they just deleted.
Wow.
Right. So the California Constitution allows the victim, Sherilyn Haynes in this case, the family, to read a statement at any substantial hearing related to the criminal hearing. And so the court allowed us to file a statement instead of just reading one at court. So I filed a pretty extensive memorandum statement indicating some of the issues that I saw with the prosecutor's memorandum, and talking about the justification. I also talked about some of the political alliances that Hochman had with police unions, and how they have been dismissing these criminal charges against these officers who've engaged in police misconduct, who have been indicted, who have actually been convicted. And the LA Times has done a couple articles about that, and I attached that to the memorandum. And the court gave its ruling yesterday. Well, they opposed it again. They sent another memorandum after I submitted that to the court, and the court dismissed it. And primarily the court was saying that it's the prosecutor's discretion to bring charges or dismiss charges.
So we went through all of that to kind of just say, oh, but D.A. Hochman can do whatever he wants, basically.
Right.
I got some questions about that. I want to welcome in and ask you to grab the mic there. One of the activists from Black Lives Matter LA, lead organizer out there in Torrance, BLM Torrance, and a policy person for BLM LA and BLM California. Shiela Bates, welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Today is a hard day to be here. And to talk about this is hard. It's been 7 years.
You've been working on this for 7 years.
I've been working on this for 7 years. We've been on the ground with Christopher's family since immediately after it happened. We planned a vigil within 2 days after he was murdered, and showed up to that next Torrance City Council meeting immediately after. And his family is destroyed. They're distraught. And, it was hard to be in the courtroom with them yesterday, and didn't get much sleep last night, and have been I've been upset about this. I can't imagine how the family feels. And I think what it speaks to is the fact that we know that we've never been able to count on these systems. And that was made even more clear yesterday. And so I think what really comes out for me, and I think what we want to uplift as Black Lives Matter Los Angeles, is that this is the reason why we have to stay in these streets. This is the reason why we have to continue to organize, because we know that they're never going to save us.
Yeah. So for those who haven't been paying attention for the past 7 years, just go back to 2018 and describe. We heard, the legal version. Let's hear the version that hit you. I remember when Christopher Deandre Mitchell was killed. I was working in Inglewood at a different radio station, and maybe it was because of the geographic, closeness. Maybe it was because he was such a young man, 23, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what it was, but something about that case, some of them just really hit you. That one did for me. And so explain what happened.
Absolutely. So on December 9th of 2018, Christopher was sitting in a car at a Ralph's parking lot, and Anthony Chavez and Matthew Concannon showed up and shot him within 12 seconds of appearing at his vehicle. And then after he was already killed, then Brian Kawamoto showed up with a beanbag gun and shot him.
And these are all Torrance cops.
All Torrance cops. The same Torrance Police Department that was caught up in a messaging scandal that was unearthed and unveiled in 2021?
Yes, 2021.
That was the one where they were doing all the N-word texts and calling us monkeys and all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm. Joking about peeing on the graves of black children, about breaking the taillights of black people so they had an excuse to pull them over and beat them.
And really important to this lawsuit and to any legal proceedings is that they were talking about how they would lie in legal proceedings, depositions at trial, whatever, or I believe it was a deposition in that case, and they were congratulating each other for being able to get cases.
Stick to the story.
Yeah, stick to the story and get cases dismissed.
They even joked about having a gun cleaning party. And they mentioned the name of Christopher and his family in these text messages, and Black Lives Matter.
Why doesn't that matter legally? I mean, to this judge. Like, you've got cops that are literally texting about cover-ups and mention the actual victim in this case. Why do the courts not care about that?
I won't say that the courts do not care about that. I think that in a civil case, that information would have been admissible. The court, Judge Sam Ohta, indicated that that information would not come in at a criminal hearing. I think he alluded to that yesterday. And I think it may kind of depend on the judge or what they would allow. I think that there was significant ties to this legal proceeding to say, or to the legal proceeding in which they were being sued and investigated for the shooting of Christopher Deandre Mitchell, to believe that they were talking about that. And I think that it would not have been impermissible character evidence. And there are legal justifications in which you can use statements such as those, or admissions actually, against a party opponent. And I think that those admissions should have been relevant. It should have come in a criminal case. I think a jury should have listened, gotten an opportunity to listen to those text messages, to read them, to listen to them, and to look these officers in the eye and determine whether or not these officers are lying when they say, well, we saw him reach for a gun. We saw a gun in between his legs. In 2 seconds. Yes. And we felt in fear of our lives. Yeah. They should be able to ask, Anthony Chavez, well, why'd you shoot? Or, and he could say, why he shot, and they could, decide whether or not is he being truthful then? Or is he being truthful when he says that? Or was he lying so that he can escape liability?
Yeah. I got a lot more questions, of course. Attorney Peter Carr is here, and Black Lives Matter LA, BLM California, Shiela Bates, BLM Torrance, also, I should say. I'm Dominique DiPrima, and you're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt? Angela was. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $80,000. Felicia was having health problems, got behind on her taxes, interest and penalties were adding up. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $15,000. Civic Tax Relief is a professional tax negotiation firm that can protect you from the IRS. If you're getting collection letters, call Civic Tax Relief for a free consultation. They will go to work helping you discover all the relief programs you may qualify for free. James owed the IRS $37,000. Civic Tax Relief represented him against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, he did not owe the IRS anything. If you are in trouble with the IRS, call Civic Tax Relief for your free consultation now. 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257. Get a free consultation and real tax relief. Call 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257.
58 years ago, a bullet tried to silence a dream. It couldn't. On April 4th, 1968, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was taken from us, not because he failed, but because he was winning. Winning the fight for a nation determined to live up to its promise. That fight didn't end then, and it can't end now. California is the most powerful state and the most powerful country on earth. But right now, too many people are being left behind, priced out of their homes, locked out of opportunity, told to wait for justice that's already long overdue. Dr. King didn't wait. He taught us the fierce urgency of now and acted. Now it's up to us to carry that same urgency today. We need leaders who will fight the triple evils of poverty, racism, and militarism. Not someday, now. On this anniversary, let's honor Dr. King the only way that truly counts, by doing the work. Ad paid for by Steyer for Governor 2026.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
Right now, we're not just back to me. We're back to Attorney Peter Carr. We're back to Shiela Bates of BLM. And, of course, PLC Law Group is Attorney Carr's organization. He's a civil rights lawyer. We're talking about Christopher Deandre Mitchell, a 23-year-old young man. I think that was not Inglewood, but was just a little further south than Inglewood, right?
It was right there in Torrance.
It was in Torrance, right. So it's a little further south. And Torrance has a reputation that goes way before the text messages, before there was even such a thing as text messages, way before Christopher Deandre Mitchell. That's my impression. What's yours, Shiela?
Absolutely. I mean, it's a quote-unquote former sundown town, right? They had sundown town laws that we have not been able to trace whether or not they are still on the books. And they used to have a code that police would use where it was NIT, inward in Torrance, and they would say it over the radio. And, there's a reason why NWA had a song where they said, don't go to court in Torrance, right? That this is who Torrance has always been. But also I want to make it clear that this is who Torrance Police Department always has been, but this is what every police department has been. That this is not exclusive to Torrance Police Department. It's police departments everywhere.
Yeah. Well, I'm bringing it up because I think, we're talking about people in Southern California. We know the LAPD is typically among the top 5 most deadly police departments in the country, and yet Torrance has a reputation. So that, to me, I mean, you can say they're all the same. I don't know if you and I may not agree on that, but it doesn't matter, because if you're in a region that has one of the most notorious departments in the world, and you're more notorious than them, that's noteworthy.
Absolutely.
To me.
Yeah, I mean, there's only 227 sworn officers in Torrance Police Department. That messaging scandal that we talked about was over 15%, was almost 18% of the police department was involved in this messaging scandal.
That's wild. I did not know that. Attorney Peter Carr, we were talking off the mic, and I remember last time we talked about Christopher Deandre Mitchell, which was in 2025, I believe, or it might have been January of 2026. you said, I think we weren't expecting an immediate ruling. It looked like the judge was trying to be thoughtful and sort of deliberative with us.
Yes. The judge, he has traditionally been very, very thoughtful. He doesn't make rulings on the spot. And he said that at the last hearing, I think it was sometime in March or maybe it was in February. Yeah, it was in February that he was going to allow Ms. Haynes to submit a statement, and then he was going to allow the prosecution to then file a response if they felt necessary, and then he would have the hearing, and then he would subsequently make the ruling. And so he abandoned that, and I wasn't thinking that he was going to do that, but he abandoned that, and because we had done the filings, and defendant, I think Concannon, defendant Concannon actually filed an opposition or a responsive a memorandum as well, and so he already had his statement, he already had his ruling decided. It didn't matter what was.
That's weird. I mean, do we know what changed? And also, is that legal? Well, obviously it is because he did it. But, I mean, it seems to me that what's the point of having a victim impact statement if you've already made your mind up? Then there's no impact of the impact statement.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that part of the issue was the fact that he allowed us to submit something in writing. So he did have a victim impact statement.
Prior to. I got you.
So he had the arguments that we were making, but Ms. Haynes had not been able to actually address the court and explain how it impacted her.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine as a mom how that has got to feel. And you said, for you personally, Shiela, that was hard, and that doesn't surprise me because we also talked, I think, last year about how you actually got injured in the course of this protest in Torrance.
Yeah, I was brutalized by Torrance PD in a city council meeting. But I think what speaks volumes of his mama is that while I was in custody and wasn't released until almost 7 o'clock in the morning, that she stayed there the whole time. Everyone kept telling her to leave, and they said, "We've got Shiela, go home, get some rest. She wouldn't want you to be staying out here." And she said, "I'm not leaving until Shiela gets out." And so she did. She waited until I got out. And she's like, "Now that I've laid eyes on you," she said, I know you're fussing at me telling me to go home." She said, "But I wasn't going to leave until I made sure that you got out." And that's who she is. And it was difficult to stand there and watch her pour her heart out again and appeal to a judge who had already made a decision. And also when Matthew Concannon wouldn't even look at her, not even just wouldn't even look at her in the face, wouldn't even look in her direction. And then Anthony Chavez wasn't even there. And so, again, to your point, how is it an impact statement, right? If the person who did this to her and is responsible for the murder of her child isn't there to listen to it.
Yeah. We've got news, traffic, and sports, then more. We are talking about Christopher Deandre Mitchell. But I think I don't mean to make that smaller because that is huge. But I think my personal opinion from what I'm reading every day is that this represents a trend in justice, not just here in Los Angeles, but nationally. Want to look at that? We're open to your questions at 800-920-1580. We are unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. President Trump is promoting tax breaks from what he calls the big, beautiful bill.
Every single American at every income level has more money in their pockets this week because of the Republican tax policies.
Speaking in Las Vegas, he highlighted no taxes on tips, overtime, and Social Security and takes the message to Arizona today. President Trump has nominated Dr. Erica Schwartz to lead the CDC. The black former Deputy Surgeon General and Coast Guard Rear Admiral now awaits Senate confirmation. With a medical degree from Brown University and a law degree from the University of Maryland, Trump said on Truth Social she's incredibly talented, adding that she's a star. And Rihanna is making history without a new album in a decade. She's now the first woman to surpass 200 million RIAA single certifications, ranking just behind Drake and country star Morgan Wallen. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Is this the This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Lakers star Luka Doncic got some good news today. The NBA agreed to restore 2 games to his regular season total of games played this season. The decision gives Doncic 66 games played, which makes him eligible for postseason awards. Before today's decision, Doncic was officially credited with 64 games, one short of the requirement. Doncic missed 2 games in December to return to his native Slovenia for the birth of his child. Doncic can now be put back on the ballot for MVP voting. He's the NBA scoring leader with 33.5 points per game. He's third in assists with 8.3. LeBron is not eligible for postseason awards. He missed 22 games. The maximum is 15. Trey Johnson is the new men's basketball coach at Jackson State University. Johnson replaces Mo Williams at the HBCU school. Williams left Jackson State to become an assistant at Kentucky in the SEC. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Prince and the Revolution!
10 years ago, the world lost a genius.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to get through this thing called life.
Prince trusted few people. Tavis Smiley was one of them.
Good evening from Los Angeles. I'm Tavis Smiley. Tonight, a rare conversation with one of music's biggest superstars, Prince.
Prince opened up to Tavis in ways he rarely did with anyone else. Honest, unfiltered, and unforgettable. On Tuesday, April 21st, as we mark the 10th anniversary of his transition, experience 3 uninterrupted hours of Prince in his own words.
When people criticize my work and attack my personality, it doesn't help me. I can't do anything with it.
Don't just remember Prince, hear him.
We live in a place now that feels just about like a plantation. We're all indentured servants.
Tavis Smiley, Tuesday, April 21st, only on Tavis Smiley.
Can we just talk?
Tavis Smiley.
You've heard me say it before, how we talk to one another matters. Earlier this year, we launched our first cohort, and I'm grateful to those who leaned in early and helped to shape the work. Now I'm inviting you to join me for a new live seminar, The Practice of Dialogue, Becoming a More Effective Communicator. This is a small group experience designed to help you strengthen how you communicate in your work, your relationships, and your everyday life. Space is limited to keep the experience personal and interactive. So if you're ready to take your communication to the next level, now is the time to focus on the skills that make conversations meaningful. The new 4-week cohort begins Monday, May 4th, and there's a nice discount for early bird registrants. Visit TavisTalks.com to learn more and reserve your place today. That's TavisTalks.com, because better conversations don't just happen, we practice them.
The joint will be jumping. Ebony Repertory Theater, in association with Fig Street Films, brings you one of the most beloved musicals of all time. Tony Award winner, Ain't Misbehavin'. The soulful, swinging celebration of the music of Fats Waller. From the rollicking to the romantic, this show is pure magic, full of the songs that defined an era and the voices that'll make you forget everything else for a night. Foot-stomping, heart-stirring, unforgettable. Don't miss Ain't Misbehavin' at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center, starring Lettucey, directed by Ren T. Brown. This is the night out you've been waiting for. Tickets are going fast, so don't wait. Grab yours now at ebonyrep.org or call the box office today at 323-964-9766. Ebony Repertory Theater, bringing the culture, keeping the legacy alive.
Ain't Misbehavin' runs May 21st through June 8th at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center. Get your tickets now.
We knew you'd stick around. This is LA's home for progressive talk radio. Be heard. Welcome back to KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back indeed, and I am a bit remiss. I should have started out the morning thanking everyone who came out to the People's Budget Assembly last night. It was quite a powerful group of folks. It was a very, very interesting presentation, and we'll leave that for another day. But Shiela, you did a great job in interviewing the bunch of candidates and one sitting elected official who showed up. And then the audience got to weigh in and some great data about how our budget should be according to the people. The official budget drops Monday. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you both for your work on that.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're talking Christopher Deandre Mitchell right now. This is a young man, a very young man who was killed by Torrance police. That's not in dispute. And the activism of you, Shiela, Black Lives Matter Torrance, BLMLA, and your legal pursuits have been going on since 2018. And Attorney Carr did a great job of explaining, but if you're just waking up, Jackie Lacey refused to bring it. The new DA, George Gascon, did bring an indictment. The next DA, Nathan Hochman, who we have in office now, has managed to get this case, which was already in motion. It wasn't an idea of a case. It wasn't we hope to bring a case. It was already in motion. There was already an indictment. Make it go away entirely. Is there recourse legally, Attorney Carr? What are the next steps, if any?
So yes, there is legal recourse. The Department of Justice has jurisdiction over all criminal prosecution in California, and so we can appeal to the Department of Justice and ask them to review the case for abuse of discretion. And
Department of Justice, though, really,
it's it's an option.
It's our only one left.
Really?
It's an option.
It's our Hail Mary.
Yeah. So you will go ahead and do that?
Yes, we are.
Okay. I mean, I guess you have to leave no stone unturned. It's just that the current Department of Justice, from what I'm seeing, is doing the same thing in terms of reversing justice. So going in, whether it's, I'm blanking on the cop's name, the deputy in the Winco case who threw the woman down. He got a post-conviction plea deal, which I had never heard of before. Didn't know that. You hadn't either. Yeah, didn't know that was possible. And we've seen it with Breonna Taylor. Those officers, the remaining officers there, will not face charges. Frank Tyson case, I'm not as familiar with that case, but I know they're looking at a similar thing. For you as an attorney, what's your take on this? Do you think it's a national thing? How does it impact your ability to help families get justice?
It is definitely a national thing. Donald Trump actually ran on that principle that he was going to make officers immune from their conduct when they are working. You can't do that, but Donald Trump does a lot of things that he shouldn't do and can't do. But it is a national trend, and it does make the job much more difficult. Obviously, the courts, interpret the laws. So when they go and they change these laws, we have to adjust. And when you have a good prosecution, I think that in this case we actually saw the importance of elections and the district attorney here, because we had Jackie Lacey, who I didn't necessarily like.
I mean, she sent more people to the death penalty than any other DA in the country, and none of them were white. So that's you. I mean,
right.
Not to say we don't have any white listeners, but most of the KBLA delegation, And then Yeah, and then she brought very, very, very few cases against law enforcement.
Zero.
I thought she had brought something like for financial malfeasance or something, not
right.
And then it like
excessive
disappeared.
force. Oh, it did.
Yeah,
okay.
never really moved.
And then we have George Gascon, and then things changed. The policies changed. They stopped bringing these 148 charges against individuals when there's no underlying criminal charge, because that's what happens is the officers engage in excessive force. They racially profile, or they beat people up, tase them, shoot them, and then they'll say, oh, well, they were resisting arrest, or they were resisting our investigation, obstructing our investigation, and that's a PC 148. And you would traditionally see those charges with no underlying criminal charge because there's no criminal.
Yeah, that happened to my dad, actually, in New York. Resisting arrest is the only charge you got? Well, what are you arresting the guy for?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And so Gascon put an end to that. And the DA, the other DAs that were under Jackie Lacey, they resisted. They were upset. They were like, we can't just prosecute people for no reason because these officers, beat people up. And then we get Hochman. And so now we're going to see a reversal. So we had some years where, I thought we were going to see some like consistent change and like that.
Yeah, this is to me one of the most terrible things that I've seen recently is the way that the voters once again, and I've been on this microphone long enough to see it more than once, get duped. I consider it getting duped. They get scared by cops and conservatives. Oh, everything's terrible. Suddenly there's smash and grab in the news every day. What happened to that? Where are all the smash and grab stories now that the election is over? Or are they coming back for this new election? People get scared and then they vote against their best interest. They vote against common sense. They think, oh, I'll be safe, even though they're already safe. And we get a Nathan Hochman. And the crazy thing, I'll say it because I got to interview all the people running for district attorney every one of those elections. Mm-hmm. And this last one, Nathan Hochman sat in the very chair you're sitting in, D.A. Hochman, and told me he was going to hold police accountable.
A politician who lied? What?
Well, yeah. I mean, it didn't seem super convincing at the time, but he did say it, even though, as you say, Attorney Carr, he also ran on not doing so, because if you looked at his Twitter and the things he was posting on socials, I was seeing MAGA talking points. Mm-hmm. So it's, one thing, and that we saw that with Villanueva when he was elected. Say one thing to the Democrats and progressives and say something else to MAGA, and then here we are.
Absolutely.
And then here we are. So what is this case, this pile of paper that you're...
I brought their filings for the 1538, these motions to dismiss, and I just wanted to make sure that if I was quoting anything that I was accurate as possible, because I don't want there to be.
You don't want to be like the attorneys that were representing Matthew Concannon and Anthony Chavez.
I care about accuracy.
You don't want to be like Hegseth and do a Pulp Fiction quote from the Bible.
Yes, Ezekiel 25.
Shiela, what's next from an activist perspective?
Absolutely. Well, let's make it clear, right? We talked about Jackie Lacey. Jackie Lacey wasn't just voted out. Jackie Lacey was kicked out. Jackie Lacey was chased out. And that was the work of Black Lives Matter. That was the work of the families. That was the work of Sister Sherilyn. Sister Sherilyn made sure that Jackie Lacey got kicked out of office.
And of course, voters had a little something to do with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But it created the narrative. And there was a bird dogging campaign of...
remember it well.
of chasing her. We chased her on her birthday when she, ran for re-election. And Sister Sherilyn was outside of that restaurant. And so there's that organizing component that has always been there, and that's what we need to stick to.
I was on the mic because I used to do a show really early in the morning. I was on the mic, and Dr. Melina Abdullah called me or texted me something right after the gun was pointed at her chest by D.A. Jackie Lacey's husband. So I was talking about it in real time, and that video is chilling. So yeah, I mean, so I guess what you're saying is
we gotta stay in these streets,
and you've been protesting against DA Nathan Hochman every Wednesday.
Right. That's right, and we're going to continue to do so. And mark my words, Nathan Hochman's days are numbered. We have never lost a buy campaign. And
a buy campaign, you mean his days are numbered. You're not talking about for this earth. You're talking about as district attorney.
Yes, as an attorney sitting here next to me. I am meaning his days in office are numbered.
Right.
Let's make that clear. And that, he's made it clear that he's choosing to prosecute protesters and not police, right? And that we have to continue to organize. We have to continue to be in these streets. And we do have to turn out for this next election and make sure that he does not get an office again, and that he doesn't get any office anywhere. And that as anybody who takes money from the Los Angeles Police Protective League, they're persona non grata. Like that's done for them.
The so-called union. Now, I'm gonna have to circle back to you on that one. No, because there's so much to unpack right there. Were you surprised that one of Nathan Hochman's, well, really Jackie Lacey's prosecutors is running now for city attorney? John McKinney, who ran for DA against Hochman, lost. He now's running for city attorney.
I'm not shocked at all, but he's not getting my vote.
Why is that?
I mean, anybody who is connected to her and is running on the platform that he's running on is not worthy of my vote. That we need a city attorney who's going to see the fact that we need to stop. I mean, last night it was made clear, right, of what Angelino's priorities are. There were 3 things that people wanted to defund, and it was the police department, parking enforcement, and the city prosecutor's office.
What was wild to me is because I've emceed every People's Budget, I think, or everyone except the first one, I think. Anyway, was that this was the first time cops were less popular than parking enforcement. That's crazy. I'd rather get a ticket than give more of my money to the police budget. And that represents a shift in opinion. Not huge shift, but a subtle shift that's worth noting. What happens to these officers now? Will they get their jobs back? Can they be cops somewhere else? What typically happens, Attorney Carr?
I don't know what's going to happen. These unless they've been decertified.
They're temporarily decertified at this point.
Then they can appeal that process more than likely, and then they can become police officers again.
And go back to shooting people, and within 2 seconds. I didn't know there was such a thing as a temporary decertification. What does that even mean?
So right now they were decertified. What's interesting is they weren't decertified because of killing Christopher. They were decertified because of the messaging scandal. And yes.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yeah. Okay. So that's why they were actually decertified, was for demonstrating bias. And then once the charges were brought forward at a certain point, they finally tacked that on there. But the original thing that they were decertified for was for demonstrating bias. And so they could appeal that, as Peter mentioned. And so we're going to be watching that closely. We did hear that they were saying that they didn't want to be police anymore, but cops lying, shocking. The idea that this is what they're going to continue to do, that they're supposedly entering different fields. But currently Matthew Concannon's still on the payroll for Torrance PD.
Wait, what? How can that be? How can that be? How can that be, Attorney Carr?
I have
because he wasn't found guilty. Is he on administrative leave? I thought they were fired.
They were, and then Matthew Concannon appealed it, and so he's still on their payroll.
Alrighty. Shiela Bates of Black Lives Matter Grassroots BLMLA is my guest. Attorney Peter Carr is my guest. We'll keep it moving when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, LA. Tax money is our money. Let's decide how to spend it together. We deserve investments that actually make our neighborhoods safe, like affordable housing, good jobs, fire prevention and protection, and community support programs. How can we make that happen? Join Black Lives Matter Los Angeles and the Movement for Black Lives for the People's Budget Assembly on April 16th. Together, we'll discuss solutions to problems we're facing and make a plan with fellow Angelinos for a city that works for the people. There'll be food, childcare, and great conversation. It's time to demand a budget that puts the people first. Join us on April 16th at 7 p.m. at BLMLA's Center for Black Power and make your voice heard before the Assembly through the People's Budget Survey. Register today at peoplesbudgetla.com. We'll see you there.
58 years ago, a bullet tried to silence a dream. It couldn't. On April 4th, 1968, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was taken from us, not because he failed, but because he was winning the fight for a nation determined to live up to its promise. That fight didn't end then, and it can't end now. California is the most powerful state and the most powerful country on earth. But right now, too many people are being left behind, priced out of their homes, locked out of opportunity, told to wait for justice that's already long overdue. Dr. King didn't wait. He taught us the fierce urgency of now and acting. Now it's up to us to carry that same urgency today. We need leaders who will fight the triple evils of poverty, racism, and militarism. Not someday, now. On this anniversary, let's honor Dr. King the only way that truly counts, by doing the work. Ad paid for by Steyer for Governor 2026.
For the first time ever, the Action Altadena Build Together Fair and Altadena Rebuild Trade Show are coming together. If you were impacted by the Eaton Canyon fire and you're still asking, where do I start? This is for you. Join James Farr, host of KBLA Talk 1580's Conversation Live, Altadena Rising, Sunday, April 19th from 12 to 4 p.m. at the Collaboratory in Altadena. Get connected to the resources, experts, and support you need all in one place. Plus music, food, games, and prize drawings for the whole family. For more information, visit Eventbrite Altadena Rebuild Trade Show, because rebuilding starts together.
Join the California Community Colleges for Black Student Success Week's free webinars April 20th to 23rd from 6 to 7 p.m. Get the facts and the support you need to succeed, like how to get cash for college or how to earn your bachelor's degree at a community college in a high-demand field. Log on daily for your chance to win scholarships to help pay for tuition. Register now at icangotocollege.com. That's icangotocollege.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. 10 Toes In serves as a mentorship and domestic violence prevention program. They support, educate, and empower couples during and after incarceration. They assist male returning citizens to re-enter society successfully and to help them maintain a healthy relationship with their romantic partner. They offer a mentorship support group for formerly incarcerated men. 10 Toes In teaches its Intimate Relationships 101 curriculum at male prisons throughout the state of California. They host sister support group meetings for women who are intimately involved with incarcerated and formerly incarcerated men. 10 Toes In is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. To access their services or make a donation, please visit them online at 10toesin.org or find them on Facebook or Instagram. They are healing lives through relationships. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
All right, time flies when you're on the radio. Shiela Bates, you were just making a correction regarding the officers that were responsible for the killing of Christopher Deandre Mitchell. That is not in dispute. The only question is whether or not they would have accountability. And yesterday, a judge ruled that they will not face criminal charges whatsoever. So you just wanted to make a quick correction.
Yes. So we were talking about how the cops were decertified and that they were, I had said that they were decertified for demonstrating bias. What actually happened is that they were fired for demonstrating bias, not fired for the murder of Christopher Deandre Mitchell. And one of the mechanisms for decertification in the bill that actually Sister Sherilyn helped to pass was that if they are fired, that's an automatic grounds for decertification. So since they were fired for were demonstrating bias by sending those text messages, that's what initially caused them to be decertified. And then in the system, once they were facing felony charges, then it changed to what we just saw earlier.
Got it. And of course, you're talking about the mother of Christopher Deandre Mitchell, Sherilyn Haynes, who's been fighting for some measure of justice for her child the past 7 years. Time does fly when you're on the radio. I know you said you're taking this to the Department of Justice, Attorney Carr. It's weird because we used to, in the Rodney King days, you thought, well, we can't get justice in Simi Valley. We go to the Department of Justice and file civil rights charges. Now we have a Department of Justice, in my opinion, that seems to be their main job is getting revenge on people that the president doesn't like. But they've been very explicit, in trying to reverse justice and take back those rare instances of justice that have happened. Do you, obviously you're a civil rights attorney, do you just wait 3 years until we get a new DOJ, or do you just keep pushing forward now in the environment we're in, or do you go to the state instead of going to the feds, or do you, what's the recourse at this point?
Yeah, I should probably clarify. So the Department of Justice that I'm referring to is the California Department of Justice.
Oh, I gotcha.
So not Trump. Not
okay,
federal,
so Bontas, right?
Yes,
I gotcha.
So, we will see what will happen when we appeal to them. We did appeal to them prior to the dismissal, and we asked them to step in. And they can only step in if there is a conflict of interest, and so we tried to outline that.
I'm laughing because to me that system where district attorneys rely on cops to get the convictions that they need to move up the ladder of their careers is a built-in conflict of interest, which means they should take every case you bring.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I wish there was legislation that suggested that or that stated that, but. They declined to step in at that point, and they said that they would review it if the court dismissed it, and they've been keeping the tabs on the case, and they knew everything about the case when we reached out to them, and we spoke for we had a meeting for an hour or so, so I'm hopeful that they will at least listen and hopefully step in.
Go ahead, Sheila.
I was just going to say, the DOJ was involved. The California DOJ was involved because of the messaging scandal. So they got involved at that point, and a whole bunch of things came out in light of it, including the fact that now one of Sister Sherilyn's demands, which was that there was a civilian oversight commission of the Torrance Police Department that they said was never going to happen, has happened.
So that was a huge win.
It was a huge win.
In the name of Christopher Deandre Mitchell. We just got a minute here. Real quick, Sheila, your call to action?
Yes, continue to stay in these streets. We have to make sure that we are organizing. One thing that you can do right now is sign the petition to fire Chief McDonnell. And so you can go to tinyurl.com/fire McDonnell. That's FIREMCDONNELL. Please go to that petition, sign it, and then also share it with your friends, and continue to stay in these streets and continue to organize.
Follow BLM Grassroots,
yes.
Black Lives Matter, Los Angeles.
Absolutely.
30 seconds, Attorney Carr. What do you want to leave us with?
You have to vote. You got to get out there and you got to vote, because elections have consequences, and we're living it, and we will continue to live it. So don't be discouraged because you're not getting exactly what you want, or you have to get out and you have to support the candidates who care about the reforms that you want.
Yeah, thank you both so very much for your work, Attorney Peter Carr and Sister Sheila Bates. Appreciate you so very much. We'll talk with Dr. Ron Daniels, one of our leading reparations activists. It's a Freedman Friday on KBLA, Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. President Trump is promoting tax breaks from what he calls the Big Beautiful Bill.
Every single American at every income level has more money in their pockets this week because of the Republican tax policies.
Speaking in Las Vegas, he highlighted no taxes on tips, overtime, and Social Security and takes the message to Arizona today. President Trump has nominated Dr. Erica Schwartz to lead the CDC. The black former Deputy Surgeon General and Coast Guard Rear Admiral now awaits Senate confirmation. With a medical degree from Brown University and a law degree